because I don't even edit these. We just rock and roll, and we just rip it off the dome, and that's what we do. But when it came to what I wanted to talk about on this training today, because I'm going to be start doing these a lot more frequently, I wanted to share a little bit more about my experience of helping moms and like what I see their biggest mistake is. On top of all that, like what's really worked for me inside of my journey, because there's a lot of different methodologies that you can go about making a change when it comes to your life, when it comes to you going about how to get more tone, how to lose the midsection fat, just how to have more confidence in general. Let me know if you guys are watching this on the live stream and you feel like you want more confidence, or you just feel like, hey, like I seem to get stuck no really matter what I try, and then I repeat this cycle over and over again. Because that's probably one of the most frequently asked questions inside of my DMs is like, how do I break past this fat loss plateau? Like, how do I break past it? Because I'm seen to be stuck no matter really what I try. And there's a ton of different methods and ton of different things and strategies that you can utilize. I actually talked about a lot more in depth in yesterday's video. If you guys want to go watch that, I talked about how to constantly not regain and lose the same 10 to 15 pounds over and over again. I talk a lot more in-depth strategies when it comes to that. But when it comes to you being stuck, and this might come across a little bit, blunt, it might come across a little bit like I'm not being the nicest, but more than half the time, being stuck is a choice. It truly is. Like, being stuck inside of your fitness journey is a choice, because if you've been stuck for an extended time period, chances are you're doing the same thing over and over again and you're not seeing a different result. And as someone very, very smart, as Einstein says, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And one thing that really changed for me inside of my fitness journey, one thing that changed for me inside of my life as well, because my number one goal with everything that I do, and I tell this with people when they join my program, is I say my number one goal is to not just make you a more fit version. My goal is to make you a better version of yourself and a happier version of yourself. And one thing that really changed inside of my life, that allowed me to see a lot more progress, like amplified when it came to not just my fitness, but my life in general, when it came to my business as well, is I realized like where I am today is an exact reflection of what I have done the last 90 days inside of my life. So where you are right now inside of your fitness journey, where you are right now inside of your life, is a reflection of the actions that you have taken over the last 90 days. So you have to ask yourself, over the last 90 days, have I actually been the absolute best that I could be? And if the answer is no, then you can't look at yourself inside of the mirror and say that you deserve to be where you want to be. It's just not, that's not real. Like, you have to actually like look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you know what? I'm not where I want to be. Like, I haven't acted how I'm supposed to act over these last 90 days. So what I'm going to do over these next 90 days is make sure that I get my shit together, and that I do my absolute best. That's why businesses don't measure their success by months. Businesses measure their success by quarters. And you have to do the same thing inside of your fitness journey. You have to look at your fitness journey as a 90-day at a time period, compared to constantly looking at it from a week-to-week time period. Because yes, it is very important to measure your progress on a week-to-week basis, but you're going to have stuff that comes up inside of your life. That's why you have to look at it over a 90-day time span. And if you're like, hey, you know what, like 80 out of those 90 days I crushed, that's a really, really good winning percentage. I'll take that winning percentage all day. But if you're 40 out of 90, it's like you're consistent 40 out of 90 days. That's a failing percentage. That is a failing percentage. So it's like you have to continue to look at it from a numbers and data standpoint, where it's like, if I've only been consistent 40 out of 90 days, like, I'm not going to see success. That would be like me with my social media saying, hey, I want my Instagram to grow. I'm only going to post 3 times a week. That wouldn't be realistic. And one thing that really happened inside of my life that propelled me when it came to my, not only my fitness growth, but my business growth, my personal growth, was I started to post on Instagram every single day. My page last year was at 6,000 followers. Now we are almost at 70,000 followers. And that is a result of me showing up week in and week out, quarter after quarter, and me taking ownership and realizing in the past that I wasn't giving it my absolute all. And you guys have to do the same thing if you've been stuck for an extended time period, and realize if you've been doing the same thing over and over and over again, you have to change it. Because it's very, very easy to think and say, like, you know what, I'm gonna change it, I'm gonna do something differently, and then you keep making the small decisions every single day that you might not think make a big deal, but they do make a big deal. And that smallest decisions could be you hitting snooze on your phone that's making you skip your workout week in and week out. The smallest decision could be you eating some almonds off of your kid's plate, or you eating some snacks off of your kid's plate. And you might not think those little calories add up, but they matter. They do. Every little decision that you make matters. The compound effect is real. Let me know if you guys resonate with that in the comments, or if you're watching this on YouTube and you guys resonate with that. The compound effect is either working for you or it's working against you. You can see massive changes inside of your fitness journey in 90 days. Massive. Massive. We've had tons of people inside of the program lose 20 pounds in 90 days, 15 pounds in 90 days, 10 pounds in 90 days. Even if it's just not from a weight standpoint, change their body composition in 90 days. And you know why they did it? Is because they took ownership of where they were currently at. And they realized that being stuck is a choice. Being stuck is 1000% a choice. Now, it is completely different if you are doing everything that is laid out for you, right? Like you are following everything to the T that someone has given you. You're following a program, to the damn like macro, like to the gram that is given to you, and you're still not seeing results. Then maybe it's time for some modifications. But for 95% of people, they just aren't being realistic with it. They aren't being truthful to themselves. And that's a very, very tough pill to swallow sometimes, and that's a very tough conversation to have sometimes. But you have to realize that like you being stuck for an extended time period is a choice, and you can change that though. That is the whole cool part about this life, is that you actually have like the power and like the willingness and the ability to change. But most people just don't see themselves as that like version of themselves that they don't want to be. They don't envision it. They don't. They just don't see themselves as a fitter and more confident version. They don't see themselves as a more, powerful version of themselves. And like, in order for you to achieve it, like you have to see it first. You have to. I remember when I first started my business, back in 2021, like I envisioned myself quitting my 9 to 5 very, very shortly. I envisioned myself getting to a place to where I could work for myself. I envisioned to a place where I was making a huge impact on people and that they were getting the results that they desperately needed inside of their life. And it happened in a pretty quick time span. It was because I envisioned it. It was something that I thought about. It was something that I became obsessive about every single day. And it was the same thing when I first got in shape, when I was overweight in high school and I wanted to make a change desperately. I became like hyper focused and obsessed about achieving a specific goal. And like, I know a lot of people say obsession is a bad thing, but I disagree. Like, I think that when you truly want to get to a fit and healthy version of yourself, that needs to be one of the main things that you think about and like make your focus every single day. You have to, because if you aren't constantly thinking about it, if you aren't constantly working towards something like that, then you're just gonna like let the littlest things derail you on your path. You're gonna let a slower, like a off day completely derail you like for multiple weeks at a time, which I see all the time. We need to learn how to get more tough and how to learn how to deal with adversity better, completely as a society. Someone said on the live stream, you need your help. Been going to the gym since September and seen a little difference. Nothing's helping. DM me the word on Instagram, Mom Squad, and we'll be able to help you out. But I'm going to end this live stream here very, very shortly. I'm going to end the YouTube video here very, very shortly. But you have to realize that you need to look at your progress in 90-day time spans and not in couple-day time spans, not just 1 week. If you have a fluctuation on 1 week, it's not that big of a deal. But you have to realize that you have to envision yourself being that version of yourself if you truly want to make it happen. Because if you never like actually visualize it, if you never envision it, if you never see yourself as it like being actually possible, then you won't give it your all. And that's what I did when it came to my fitness journey. When I was in high school and I was overweight, I went to the gym at 5 a.m. in the morning before high school started, before I went to class. I got shit for it all the time from a lot of the people surrounding myself. Why are you taking this thing so seriously? Like, why don't you just like have a couple of drinks with us? Why don't you just have some of this fast food? Why don't you do this? Because that version of myself was a weak version of myself. And when I truly told myself, like, I want to look at myself in the mirror and I want to feel like the most confident that I can possibly feel, like I want to give others a better version of myself,
that's when it just became a habit. It just became an everyday thing. And I didn't even have to think about if I was going to stick to my plan or not, because I realized that if I didn't stick to it, I was giving the world, I was giving people, excuse my language, a half-assed version of myself. And if you guys right now are watching this, you're listening to this, and then you don't have the confidence that you want, you don't have the physique that you want, you just look at yourself in the mirror and you're just like not happy, like you can change that. You truly can. And that I understand that hormones play. I understand that hormones play a role. I understand that your time plays, a huge, a huge factor in all this. I understand that you're busy, but like you have the ability and you have the power to actually do something about this. But you just need the right plan and right structure in place. And that's what this whole page is about. This is my whole Instagram is about, to help give you guys that structure, to help give you guys that clarity that you're ultimately looking for. So that's it. I hope this helps. Take some takeaways from my journey on what worked best for me, because what worked for me was like I became hyper focused on a goal, and I started looking at my goals in terms of 90-day time periods instead of just weekly time periods, and it allowed me to stay a lot more consistent that way. And I don't get overwhelmed when 1 week I don't see the progress that I want to make, because I look at, okay, what have I done the last 60 days? What have I done the last 90 days? And when I realized that, you know what, I would say over the last 90 days, like I've probably won 80 of those. I've won 82 of those. I've won 78 of those. That's a pretty good equation. And most people, like that is what's going to ultimately allow you to like give yourself that credit and give yourself that, that love that you deserve. Because when you start to treat yourself like that and you stay consistent for that long time period, you start to build the belief. You build the belief. You can't buy it. You can't buy it. A lot of people try and buy the belief with materialistic things, and I'm telling you, like the only thing that's going to truly give you that inner confidence is like sticking to the promises that you make for yourself and doing it for you, and not just doing it, just to try and make someone else happy inside of your life. You need to truly do it for you, because then it will come from a lot more authentic place. But I hope this helps you guys. If you guys are interested in my one-to-one coaching program, I have a link on this YouTube video inside of the description for my application. Just fill it out real quick. We'll reach out to you. If you guys are watching me on Instagram Live and you're interested in making a change, just DM me the word Mom Squad on Instagram. We'll reach out to see if we can help you out. And I hope you guys all have the best day of your entire freaking life.